Hello there, it's midnight and you are watching Nightline with me, Nadia Azmi. The top stories. GPS retains Jepak state seat with landslide majority. And names of absent MPs to be displayed on Dewan Rakyat website. Good morning. Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS has successfully retained the Jepak state seat after its candidate Iskandar Turki was declared the winner on Saturday night. Election Commission Returning Officer Abang Zainuddin Abang Turki announced the results at 8:30 p.m. at the vote tallying centre in Dewan Suara Bintulu.
Dengan ini, saya mengisytiharkan bahawa Iskandar Turki dari Parti GPS telah dipilih sebagai Ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri bagi bahagian pilihan raya negeri N67 Jepak. Sekian, terima kasih.
Iskandar, a former Sarawak National Anti-Drug Agency Director, beat Parti Bumi Kenyalang candidate Stevenson Joseph Sumbang and Parti Aspirasi Rakyat Sarawak candidate Chiang Lie Fing with a 8,784 vote majority. Iskandar accumulated 9,638 votes against Stevenson's 854 votes and Chiang's 431 votes. Voter turnout was 48.57%. The constituency has 22,804 voters, comprising 22,761 ordinary voters and 43 police personnel. The by-election was held following the death of six-term incumbent Datuk Talib Zulkifli on September 15th. Earlier, Iskandar cast his vote at the Bintulu polling centre at 8:30 a.m. He was accompanied by his wife, 52-year-old Dayang Loha Awang Sahari. The 54-year-old was calm and seen smiling while walking into the main gate of the polling station and was shaking hands with everyone he met on his way to the registration counter. 62-year-old aspirasi candidate Chiang and 42-year-old Sumbang of PBK are both not registered as voters in the said constituency. Election Commission Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh said polling in the by-election for the Jepak state seat proceeded smoothly without any untoward incidents, partly due to the good weather on Saturday. The polling process, which began at 7:30 on Saturday morning, concluded when 11 out of 14 polling centres closed at 5:30 p.m. 3 other polling centres for the by-election at SK Kuala Anau, SK Sungai Setolan and Tabika Kemas Kuala Segan closed earlier at 4 p.m. All ballot boxes from 14 polling centres involving 45 streams were then taken to the vote tallying centre at the Dewan Suara Bintulu before the official results were announced at 8:30 p.m. Ghani said the swift results was because the furthest area in the constituency was only about an hour away. A total of 446 EC personnel were involved throughout the polling process, while 642 police officers were assigned to ensure security. GPS's resounding victory in the Jepak by-election is an endorsement by the people towards the state government's development plans for Bintulu. Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Oping said with the win, the coalition will continue its efforts to implement structured development in Bintulu, making it a model industrial town which will be able to attract more investments.
Sudah tentu ini adalah satu tanda bahawa masyarakat kita khasnya di Jepak dan di kawasan Bintulu telah menerima dasar-dasar yang telah kita rancang dan akan kita laksanakan untuk pembangunan di bahagian Bintulu. Lebih-lebih lagi cadangan untuk membangunkan Jepak Jaya yang juga telah cadang bersama oleh Allahyarham Datuk Talib Zulkifli dan sudah tentu saudara Iskandar akan meneruskan usaha itu.
Abang Johari was speaking to reporters after Iskandar Turki was announced as the winner at the Bintulu Civic Centre on Saturday night. He said the higher majority was also a lesson for all the contesting parties, acting as a clear message that democracy is not merely about the sake of contesting against each other, but rather assessing the reality of the situation. The Sarawak Premier added that GPS will continue to develop Sarawak into a progressive and prosperous state by 2030. A country can become great if it starts instilling noble values from the stage of the family institution. When launching the National Family Month celebration, BKK 2023 in Putrajaya on Saturday, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the inculcation of noble values is the basis for the development of a Madani society and country.
Mudah-mudahan dalam bulan keluarga, kita terus ingat bahawa keluarga itu harus menjadi asas dalam membina masyarakat dan negara. Kemudian dipupuk dengan nilai, minat untuk belajar, menimba ilmu dari keluarga, minat untuk menghayati prinsip agama dari keluarga. Bagi orang Islam, mula mengenal huruf, membaca, itu dari keluarga.
Anwar said if the inculcation of moral and humanistic values was ignored in efforts to develop the country, it could lead to rampant misdeeds, corruption and irregularities. He said the success in building the family institution would also serve as a benchmark for the capability of leaders, including ministers, as a broken family makes it difficult to develop society. He also expressed his appreciation to Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri for her commitment to fighting for the status of women and children in the country. Meanwhile, Nancy said the Kasih Madani Special Award, introduced in conjunction with BKK 2023, is to recognise employers who have implemented family-friendly practices and policies in their agencies or companies. The BKK 2023 celebration, themed Keluarga Harmoni Negara Madani, was organised by the ministry to honour the family institution as an important platform for building a stable and prosperous society. On another matter, Anwar has urged opposition members of parliament to resume discussions with Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadillah Yusof regarding allocation requests for their respective constituencies. This follows a statement by opposition lawmakers on Friday who announced that they will stop negotiations or requests for allocations for their areas with Fadillah. When asked about claims that the allocations would only be given if opposition MPs complied with various conditions, Anwar denied there was such a stipulation. On Friday, Perikatan Nasional Chief Whip Datuk Seri Takiuddin Hassan stated that he had met with Fadillah twice to discuss the relevant allocations before announcing the decision to suspend negotiations on the matter.
Kalau kita sebut Maznah binti Ismail, saya fikir tak ramai yang kenal pun. Tapi kalau saya sebut Mona Fendi,
Mona Fendi yang masuk muzik tu kan.
Malam yang dia dibunuh tu memang kita orang pasang kereta dia masuk.
Fail Mahkamah, Rabu 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
The names of members of parliament found to be deliberately absent from parliamentary sittings will be displayed on the Dewan Rakyat website. Dewan Rakyat Speaker Tan Sri Johari Abdul said this was so that their parliamentary constituents could be informed of the matter. Johari said the move was among the improvements being implemented to boost the attendance of MPs during Dewan Rakyat sittings, as they have responsibilities and duties towards the parliamentary constituency and constituents they represent. He said he would discuss the suggestion with the parliamentary committee, which includes MPs from both the government and opposition blocs. Johari also said he understood that MPs had many duties and some of them were unable to attend Dewan Rakyat sittings as they needed to be present at meetings in other locations, while some had duties abroad. He also stressed that he had advised MPs to inform him or the Dewan Rakyat Secretariat of their absence if they were unable to attend. The blessings of peace and freedom in the country should not be marred by polemics stoking the flames of animosity. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah said Malaysians should be grateful for the peace and freedom enjoyed by the country today, as disputes and wars would only destroy the dreams and future of a nation and ultimately result in the destruction of the entire community. Speaking during his royal address at the University Kuala Lumpur UniKL 204th Convocation Ceremony on Saturday, His Majesty expressed sadness and concern over the current crisis in Palestine, which has claimed thousands of lives. Drawing lessons from the plight of the Palestinian people, Al-Sultan Abdullah, who is also the UniKL Chancellor, said the younger generation in the country should continue to acquire knowledge because education is a powerful force capable of instilling good values and rejecting all forms of violence.
Betul merasa amat duka cita dan gusar dengan konflik terkini di bumi Palestin. Konflik di antara Palestin dan Israel yang telah berlarutan selama lebih 6 dekad telah menafikan hak asasi rakyat Palestin.
His Majesty said in addition to acquiring as much knowledge as possible, the country's younger generation must be educated and nurtured with a strong sense of patriotism to always stand firm and uphold the principle of loyalty to the King and the beloved country. They should also be inculcated with democratic values that defend national identity, religion, national sovereignty, and the supremacy of the Constitution so that the beloved homeland is not pawned off to foreign powers. Meanwhile, the 9 MWCA cargo aircraft carrying the first phase of humanitarian aid to be sent to Palestine through an operation codenamed Ops Ihsan has safely landed at the El Arish military airport in Egypt on Saturday. Specially chartered by the Malaysian government, the aircraft took off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport on Friday. In the 7,688-kilometre journey that took 15 hours, the plane first landed at the Chennai International Airport, India, and then at the Sharjah International Airport in the United Arab Emirates before arriving in Egypt. The aid, comprising 20 tons of medical supplies, baby items and food, was handed over to representatives of the Egyptian Red Crescent Society to be brought into Gaza through the Rafah border crossing. It is understood that once the aid passes the Rafah border, it will then be handed over to the Palestinian Red Crescent Society at the Nitzana border for distribution. Ops Ihsan is an initiative launched by the Foreign Affairs Ministry together with 45 non-governmental organizations (NGOs). A second flight to deliver another 20 tons of aid is scheduled to take off on November 10th. In the meantime, Malaysia will continue to use its influence at the international level and actively play a role together with other countries in seeking an immediate solution to the crisis in Gaza. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Zamri Abdul Kadir said he will visit India on Sunday and then Qatar before visiting several other countries in an ongoing effort to stop the mass killings in Gaza by the Israeli regime.
Mungkin Malaysia ada yang menganggap sebagai sebuah negara kecil, tetapi dalam konteks peranan Malaysia dan pengaruh Malaysia di kalangan negara ASEAN, pengaruh Malaysia dalam kalangan negara OIC, peranan Malaysia dalam konteks G77, pengaruh Malaysia dalam konteks negara-negara NAM dan juga pengaruh Malaysia dalam konteks Global South. Nama Malaysia sentiasa diberikan keutamaan dan suara Malaysia seringkali diminta.
He said this when asked about the statement by Palestinian ambassador to Malaysia, Walid Abu Ali, who urged Malaysia to play a larger role in encouraging other countries to show their support for Palestine. Zamri also said Malaysia is exploring potential collaborative actions with other nations in response to the recent passing of a bill by the United States House of Representatives targeting sanctions against supporters of Hamas and the Palestinian movement. As the world continues to condemn the Zionist regime's atrocities against Palestine, the Israeli military's relentless airstrikes of Gaza reached a concerning escalation, with reports of schools, shelters, hospital areas and ambulances being targeted. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, the Zionist recent bombardment targeted Al-Fakura school in the Jabalia refugee camp, killing at least 15 Palestinians and wounding dozens others. The Israeli forces also bombed 2 mosques in the southern Gaza city, destroying the Ali bin Abi Talib and the Al-Istijabah mosques in the Al-Sabram neighborhood. They also struck the power generator of Al-Wafa hospital and destroyed a public water tank east of Rafah, which supplied several neighborhoods. To date, the death toll has reached 9,488 people, including 3,900 children and 2,509 women. The consequences of Zionist airstrikes in Gaza are nothing short of heartbreaking, with Palestinians, including children, left to endure the aftermath marked by panic and grief. As the cycle of atrocities continues, the toll on the people living in one of the most densely populated regions in the world remains devastating.
وين كنت لما صار القصف يا عمي؟
وقت وين؟ إلا صارت 3 أبيات. وقت شوفها صارت الخط. وصارت واحد في الحية. والله صارت واحد في الحية.
حرام يا عم، قول لهم حرام، وين بدنا نروح؟ وين بدنا نيجي؟ قول لهم حرام، صار الموت عندنا هين، صار الموت عندنا هين، وين بدنا نروح؟ الملاجئ قصفتوها، وادي غزة اللي بيطلع وادي غزة اللي بيقصفوه في الشوارع. أنا شايفة صارت زي كنت أرى كل بموت على بجانب. إمتى صارت الملاجئ تنقصف يا عم؟ والله حرام اللي بيصير. بتطلع وادي غزة بيقصفوك، نمسك الكتيل بنروح نقصفوا لغاز. وين الأمم المتحدة هذا الموضوع؟ عمر الملاجئ بكل الحروب انقصفت. حرام اللي بيصير. حسبي الله عليك يا حكام العرب، حسبي الله عليك يا حكام العرب. أربعة، 2، 1.
Death toll in Nepal earthquake rises to 157. News from the foreign front when we return. Welcome back. Rescue workers in Nepal on Saturday began digging through the rubble of collapsed houses with their bare hands, searching for survivors after the country's worst earthquake in 8 years killed 157 people and shook buildings as far away as New Delhi. The 6.4 magnitude quake struck the Jajarkot region in the west at 11:47 p.m. local time. According to officials, although the quake's magnitude was not severe, the damage and the death toll are high due to the poor quality of construction in the area and because it struck while people slept. They fear the death toll could rise as first responders reached the hilly area near the epicenter, 500 kilometers west of the capital Kathmandu, only early on Saturday and began searching for survivors. The quake is the deadliest since 2015, when about 9,000 people were killed in 2 earthquakes. Actor Matthew Perry was laid to rest on Friday at a Los Angeles cemetery in a service attended by relatives and castmates from the hit 1990s television sitcom Friends. The service was held at Forest Lawn Memorial Park near Warner Brothers Studios, with Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc and David Schwimmer were in attendance. The funeral started at 3 p.m. local time and ended 2 hours later. Perry died on October 28 at age 54 at his home in Los Angeles after an apparent drowning. There were no drugs found at the scene and no signs of foul play were present. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed that an autopsy has been completed and results are pending a toxicology report. Junhao through to the finals. Sports after this breather. Sports badminton, the 2023 KL Masters. National young shuttler Leong Junhao ousted Choi Ji-hoon of South Korea on Saturday to advance into the finals. World number 43 Junhao easily thrashed Ji-hoon 21-17, 21-16. He will face world number 37 Lee Chia-hao of Taiwan in the final in his bid to land the inaugural title on Sunday. In the mixed doubles, Chan Peng-soon Chia Yi-si defeated Chen Zi-rei Yang Ching-tun to reach their first open final in 6 years. The national duo outclassed the 7th-seeded Taiwanese pair in straight sets 21-10, 22-20 in just 38 minutes. In their quest for the title, Peng-soon Yi-si will face Pakapon Tirarat Sakul Pataimas Muen Wong of Thailand, who defeated Malaysia's Chung Honajian Go Pei Ki 21-17, 21-17 in another semi-final clash. In the men's doubles event, Tan Wee Kiong and Noor Azrin Ayer provided a tough challenge against Chen Cheng Kwan and Chen Cheng Fan before bowing to the Taiwanese pair. The national pair won the first set 21-15, but eventually succumbed to Cheng Kwan Sheng Fan in the next two sets 15-21, 15-21. On to tennis, the 2023 Paris Masters. Fifth-seeded Andrei Rublev came back from a set-down to beat 13th seed Alex de Minaur for a place in the semi-final. Despite losing the first set against Australian 4-6, 26-year-old Rublev mounted a comeback to claim 6-3, 6-1 victory in the next two sets. The Russian will face Novak Djokovic in the last four. Earlier, Djokovic edged out Holger Rune to avenge his defeat in last year's Paris Masters final, securing his spot in the semi-final. The world number one missed a match point in the second set, but eventually claimed a 7-5, 6-7, 6-4 win over Denmark's Rune after a nearly 3-hour battle. The Serbian star is playing in his first ATP Tour event since lifting a record 24th Grand Slam title in New York in September. We're going for a short break. When we come back, two teens bridge the gap between technology and education. Welcome back. Up next, a story of how two teenagers are helping bridge the digital divide. Thanks to the duo, underprivileged children in Kuala Lumpur and Sabah can now use old laptops as part of their education. FMT's Dinesh Kumar Maganathan speaks to Adam Stevens and Jeremy Sharp about their social initiative called the Forward Future Project.
Adam Stevens and Jeremy Sharp may just be 17, but they are already making an impact in 3 underprivileged communities. The duo started the Forward Future Project last year, a social initiative that repurposes discarded laptops. And it all started with a very simple question.
And we've noticed that our teachers have been getting new laptops, and these laptops, we wondered, where do the old laptops go to? And we were talking to our computer science teachers, and they said they just leave them in a cupboard somewhere to store and to dispose of them after 2 years.
We decided that we were going to take in the laptops that aren't being used at school and redistribute them to people who need it more.
With the help and support from family, friends and their school, the teenagers have collected 125,000 ringgit worth of laptops so far. 16 laptops have since been donated to the Zomi Learning Centre and Chin Refugee Centre in KL, where a single teacher has been tasked with teaching 40 Myanmar refugee students of varying ages. Now the students have access to educational materials tailored to their individual proficiency levels. Stevens and Sharp have also been tutoring them for the last 6 months, and the results have been inspiring.
Just recently, I think last week, I was teaching them how to code, and there's one kid who just nailed everything, completely got it, and was just having so much fun. And I think it just resonated with me. I mean, I enjoyed that session so much, and how much he would have never had this opportunity if we couldn't give him these laptops, couldn't teach them.
8 more laptops will be donated next year to Iskul Sama di Laut Omadal, a community-run school for Bajau Laut children in Pulau Omadal, Sabah. There, only 1 laptop is shared among nearly 30 students who have to rely on an internet network that uses only mobile data and goes out for days during storms, disrupting online classes. Despite these challenges, Stevens and Sharp say it's all worth it. For other young people thinking of starting their own social initiatives, they have these words of advice.
Don't be afraid to do it. Just, if you have an idea, if you have a plan, just go with it. There's nothing, you will never regret it in the end. It's a great experience, and I know we don't regret it. We enjoyed it thoroughly, so I'll say.
Dinesh Kumar Maganathan, FMT Lifestyle for Nightline.
In other news, police have launched an investigation into 4.6 million ringgit worth of casino chips, which were reported stolen from a casino in Genting Highlands, Pahang. Benteng Police Chief Superintendent Zaiha Muhammad Kahar said the case over the missing chips came to light after the casino security management noticed one of the casinos was broken into at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday last week. He also said police have launched an investigation to identify the culprits responsible for the missing casino chips. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code. And as we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as Cuba's National Ballet celebrates its 75th anniversary. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for watching and stay safe.